Kobe, did you know that you and I are too dumb for this anime?
I guess so. I guess that is the only explanation of why we seem to be the only two people who don't like what's happening here.
Who don't like it, who don't understand it, who are not connected to it. But does this anime episode redeem all that? What do you think?
Does it redeem it? No. But does it actually give like a really interesting episode that fills in some shades of a character? I would say yes. It was just one of the most interesting character studies that the show has done in the 13 episodes. So I think pacing was a problem, but I liked the general focus on seeing different things from Rachel's perspective and seeing why she was doing what she was doing.
The whole episode was basically laying out that she was selfish and she wanted to be a star. She wanted to be a star, baby. Hollywood, yeah.
Hey kid, you wanna climb the Tower of God? Just kill Bam.
Do you think that Bam is still down to save Rachel, or do you think that he's, maybe has some malintent in his heart when seeking her out again?
I hope it's malintent. I mean, I think again, just like a cool ending of him being like, I'm climbing the tower, but for me and not for Rachel anymore because she betrayed me and pushed me off a bubble. It would be really cool. Like I think that gives him a driving, motivating factor and stops him from being that same whiny person he always is of just like, I gotta save Rachel. I gotta do this for Rachel. Because if he turns around and he says, I'm gonna save Rachel still, even though she betrayed me, that's gonna be upsetting.
Do you think that this episode enticed you to watch the rest of the series? Because they're obviously going to make more.
Sure. I think kind of. I think I'd want to see the direction of season 2. This is supposed to be the episode that fills in the blanks, right? That like shows us all the previous scenes with Rachel and gives them new context. And I think for like a lot of them, they actually worked. So I think a lot of the times when we were saying like, why is Rachel doing this? Like it actually made sense of like what she was after deep down. But I just still think the lead up to it just wasn't as earned, and I wish we got to know Rachel as like this really true beacon of light beforehand, before she, went all like evil and became this woman who was so corrupted by the tower. Because I think this was a really good Rachel episode. I just don't like it in terms of it ending the season and it not having a lot of weight to what came before,
Yeah, the groundwork was not laid out fully in this first season. And even the relationship between Bam and Rachel, because that's what the whole series is hinging around, it seems like. I just never believed or cared about their relationship at all from the very beginning. It was just like, oh, Bam likes this girl. That's it. That's all you get. You have to care about them. And yet they're building this whole show around that. So yeah, this did not lay the groundwork effectively for me enough to want to go see the second season. And especially with all the hype that this show got, I am pretty disappointed in it, to be honest with you.
All the pieces were there because all the different parts of this are really interesting. At its core, you have this guy who has internal optimism and wants to save his true love, and then at the end, the true love betrays him, and then he has to find his own path. That's cool. You have some great mysterious side characters like Kun, who has his own dark past, and he wants to beat the system on his own. You have some great side characters. You even have like the whole administrative thing, which is kind of cool with like a Lero Rowe, and like retiring and quitting because there's like a power political struggle going on above the scene and he wants to climb the tower himself, which I think is kind of cool. You have something like the redhead, who is actually a navigator, I think was the twist in this episode. She was someone working on the higher ups and she was like a plants or something. You have that. You have all these pieces that I just wish would have been utilized better.
And I think one of the biggest limitations is that they, for some reason, decided to make this first season 13 episodes.
Do you think this story, that would have been better if that same story was told over 24 episodes and not 13?
Yeah, I think so. Absolutely. More time, I think, is generally better in terms of storytelling.
What could we have seen? More tag games? I don't even know if they're in the tower yet or if they are now going to the tower. Have they passed the test to go to the tower? I don't know where the tower is, Jeff.
See, that's a great example. We have these questions because the anime doesn't bother to even establish the lore or the setting or the place. There's YouTube channels explaining a lot of the shit that's been cut out from the webtoon, that explain what the tower actually is, that explain what these different positions are, they explain what Shinsu is, and I've learned so much about this world just from watching the content that these other people have put out, and it actually is like a fascinating world and setting and interesting and unique, but they don't showcase any of that. And they even sometimes change entire scenes to make them, I don't know why they change these scenes in such a way, because in the webtoon they're actually more effective. One great example of this is when there's this recurring scene. I guess it happens maybe 2 or 3 times when Rachel has like this dream where, you know, she's like running down the canyon that they were in the beginning, and then you see Bam, and then he's like surrounded by all his friends, and then they all become surrounded by lights, and then they walk off and they become like the star, right? And that's supposed to signify that, you know, I guess sort of foreshadow that Bam is becoming what Rachel wanted, which is she wants to be a star. She wants friends, special abilities, etc. In the webtoon, you see this beautiful night sky, and that's what Rachel's dreaming about. That's what all she talks about. And then you have kind of that same thing happening where, you know, Bam is off to the side and he kind of becomes a star, and but he's actually becoming so bright of a star that's kind of drowning out the brightness of the stars that Rachel is looking up at. So it's things like that. They modify.
That's really cool.
They change scenes from the webtoon in their adaptation to the anime, and I think they do a lot less of an effective job of it. And that, I think, is just a great example of how, for some reason, they're not able to translate this great story from the webtoon to the anime setting.
That is a brilliant example. That sounds so intriguing, and actually just a great visual representation of what their story and their love story like truly means, and how infectious and how poisonous it actually turns out to be. That's great. Too bad we didn't get to see any of that in the show.
Yeah, well, I have nothing more to say on this. Do you want to sign us off, Coby?
Sure, you've been watching this on Nerd Blaze. Like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Thank you all for your comments so far. Even though we don't like this anime very much, we like interacting with you. Maybe we'll be back some other time with another anime that hopefully we like more. Yeah, so, and then that'll raise our spirits. So thank you all very much, and we'll see you around.
See ya.